Hi everyone, Myor. So some interesting things to note here. First, if we look at the breakdown of sales, sales dropped 11% in the first quarter, so it was a bit disappointing. But the reason for that was because of a huge drop in exports. The domestic sales are still doing okay. We assume that that is a kind of one-off. So sales will recover and grow 5% over the next 12 months. In terms of cash flow, they've had very positive cash flow, so from negative in 2018 to positive 2 trillion in the last 12 months. That's despite a lot of investment, so 2 trillion of investment. But the company thinks they'll be spending a lot less on capex this year. About half of this free cash flow comes from working capital. So we assume that the working capital is gone, but the investment spending comes down, and we end up with similar, almost 2 trillion of cash flow in the next 12 months. So you can see this tremendous recovery they've had in cash flow. That is going to stay up there. And that means, so they've had net debt in the balance sheet, which reached 5 trillion in 2018. Now that's come down because of this positive cash flow to just 1.4. And with our cash flow forecast, they are almost going to get to net cash over the next 12 months. That's including a dividend of 600 billion, which is similar with last year. But of course, the cash flow is almost 2 trillion. So once they get into net cash, they're going to be able to pay out a much larger dividend. In the profit, the cash cost ratio, cash costs adding back the depreciation to net profit and dividing by the sales, the cash cost has jumped, the margin has jumped in the first quarter, but that's because of an FX gain. So we assume that the cost ratio comes back to 90% in the next 12 months. In terms of valuation, here's that almost 2 trillion of cash flow. Now our investment spending is still quite high here, so it could be that they produce better cash flow even than that. We're using a 20% discount on our valuation, 1.6, because the dividend's still quite low, but we still get a target price of 4,160. Okay, see you next time.